Hey guys, welcome back to Weld.com. So today we're going to do a complete joint penetration weld. A lot of times you've seen us do welds with backing. This time we're going to do one without backing. We're going to go ahead and weld one side up solid, back gouge the other with the Hypertherm plasma cutter, and then clean that up and weld that side out. So come on in, we'll talk about joint preparation and the welding symbol. Alright, so we're going to use SMAW, and this is joint designation BU2 by the American Welding Society. We're going to draw ourselves a happy little welding symbol. I've got a 60-degree bevel on here. We're going to back gouge and we're going to back weld. Thank you, sir, in the back. I am missing a symbol, so we're going to back weld in here. I have an 1/8 inch land in here, so my depth of preparation is going to be a 1/4 inch. And my depth of fill, that's also going to be a 1/4 inch. Alright, so essentially we have a 60-degree included angle, so each plate is already beveled at 30 degrees each, and I have an 1/8 inch land on this material here. So both pieces have been prepped, 30-degree bevel, 1/8 inch land. What we're going to do is we're going to slap both of these pieces together. I'm going to make a tack on the bottom, a tack on the top. My root I'm going to run in here with a 7018 332, and then I'll probably put an 1/8 inch 7018 cap over top of that. We'll then go to the back side of the plate. I'm going to keep this in the fixture the whole time, and then we're going to back gouge using the Hypertherm PowerMax 105 with the gouging head and the gouging consumables. We'll clean that up with a grinder, and we'll go ahead and repeat that process on the back. We'll go ahead and run a root in there with 3/32 7018 and a cap with 1/8 inch 7018. Once we get done with this whole thing, we'll go ahead and we'll do a cut and etch on here to show you guys depth of penetration and what that weld profile is exactly going to look like once this joint is complete. So let's get to it. I'm going to give a big shout out to Jason with Fireball Tools for sending these awesome inserted clamps out. Make sure to use Weld5 at checkout when you go visit his website. Get 5% off on your purchase. Alright, so as you can see, the back is slammed tight. Tweet like a tiger, tweet like your pants. So no penetration through the back. We're just going to go ahead and burn right into that 1/8 inch land. We'll come on the back side later on and we're going to gouge that out, open that up, clean it with a grinder, and then we'll weld that side after the fact. So we're going to go ahead, I've got a 332 rod in there since we're going vertical. We're going to go ahead and run at 85 amps. I've got a 15% hot start for about 0.8 of a second, 15% arc force. I'm just going to use a little U-shaped motion in here. Try to keep myself about a 1/16 of an inch below the surface. That way I can just run one single pass with an 1/8 inch rod. Cap this bad boy off on each side. Keeping a very tight arc length. Running side to side. I'm not worried about undercut on this, because like I said, I'm going to go ahead and put a cap on there. But it's not going to matter because that cap's going to penetrate, take care of any undercut that I may have. Go ahead and do a restart here in a second. Flip out. Alright, after any time we stop, we're going to go ahead and clean the piece up, and then before we put any other passes in, now that we got it all cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and strike about 3/8 above that crater, fall back into it, and then just continue welding from there until I reach the top. Alright, so as you'll see on the back side, we're not getting penetration to the back because I don't want penetration on the back. That's why we slam these plates together, put a heavy land on there, about 1/8 of an inch, so we wouldn't get the penetration on there. What we'll do is when I get done, we'll take that plasma cutter and we will gouge out a nice little groove all the way to sound metal, or weld metal, and then we'll grind it clean before we weld on the back side. Alright, so I got the root in. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to 1/8 inch diameter electrode. I'll probably run about 110 amps on the machine. We'll go ahead and cap this off, and then we'll back gouge the back side with the plasma cutter. Doing like a little weave here. Little side to side action, making sure I tie in. Cross over the edge of that plate. Hold the side just a tad. Kind of go fast through the center. Really all I'm worried about is those left and right edges. Get a good tie in over there. Cover up this cap, make sure I'm plus to 1/8 of an inch. Alright, so we got the cover pass on there. Got a pretty decent tie in here. We're going to go ahead, gouge out the back, clean it up with a grinder, and repeat that process on the back side. Remember, I'm gonna cut this down to solid weld metals. All right, so on the back side now, this seam right here, I'm gonna go ahead and take this, this new torch. It's got a 15-degree angle on it, specifically designed for gouging. And I'm just gonna go right up that seam, probably maybe 1 or 2 times, and just dig into where I'm about 3/16 of an inch below the surface. Clean that up with that hard rock wheel. Just kind of make sure everything's nice and uniform. I get all the carbon deposits out from the cutting process, and then we'll run that 3/32 root and that 7018 cap on this side. Before we get into this, let's talk about settings real quick on the plasma cutting machine. So I'm running Hypertherm PowerMax 105. I'm running 40 amps. Now I have 65 amp consumables in my torch here, but if I run that 65 amps, I'm probably going to cut halfway through, 3/4 inch through this, or 3/4 of the way through this plate. So I've backed the amperage down a little bit to give me some time, because I want to try to get in here and do some precision work, right? I want to cut a little bit of a gouge in there, and I'm probably going to take 2 passes to get it all out. I don't want to try and get it all in one shot, because I might overcut. Now, a couple of things that I can do to control the depth of my cut is the angle that I'm going to cut at and my travel speed. So if I start cutting too deep, I can pull the torch back a little bit or even angle it slightly higher. So we'll go in there. I'll see exactly how it's working right at the start, and then we'll just we'll go from there. We'll adjust on the fly.